So we've got a nice tensioned up eucalypt here, eucalyptus tree. Apparently this one's full of tension, supplied by Tauriko Sawmills here in Tauranga. So let's just cover off loading the log first. See, so when you're on site, you have your log loader here, and that just simply loads your log up. You've got a little bit of a bridging bracket right there, which allows it to roll right into the log, into the log deck. So once it gets in there, it self-aligns to these little positioners here, and you've got three holes to accommodate different size logs. So once that's centralized sideways, then you have these controls here that operate the operator end spike system, and that just plunges into the end. You measure around the log to the hub to make sure it's equal, and then you've also got this the separate independent unit here that also can control the far end, so that'll give you a little bit more control of lining up your log. The mill is already positioned to the center of the spikes, so I don't have to set the mill once I start milling, because it's already set. However, you can adjust this end off at a taper to allow flute designs when you're making weird and wonderful shapes. So once that's positioned, I just simply raise the log up to its max stroke, which then aligns it to the mill. So once I've got it set up now, I'll line the first cut up. So what I like to do is position the sawmill for its first cut, so you're not making too much waste. So I look down the blade like this to the log. There you go. And what else you can do is you can go over here and you could go to your lathe mode and just start rotating, and that'll rotate the log, so you can optimize that first cut. So you could go down, so you're getting into the good wood with your first series of radial cuts, which is a nice little feature. Then you stop it there. So I mean, there's so many different ways to mill, but in this instance, what we'll do is we'll just show the wide board capability. We're going to take some 6-inch wide boards around the outside of the log, and we're going to demonstrate just how straight those boards are. Now they are flats on, but there's not much else you can do with tensioned eucalypts. If you cut it quarter sawn, you've got a massive bow in it, and you're just going to have to. I mean, the ultimate way to deal with that is just cut them into little pieces and finger join them together again, However, backsawing will allow backsawing centered to the heart, like we're about to do, will give you the straightest possible product. And from that point, it's just a matter of how you dry it, dehumidifying or just air drying. We'll sort that out, and how you stack it. But this will at least give you nice straight boards that you can actually use. And really, most parts of the world, ukes are slow growing and very dense, so you can get away with backsawing timber out of it. And really, that's how they're having to deal with it in the big, big timber processing plants, is it's all backsawn. Obviously, they quarter saw what they can out of it, but it's pretty limiting. So this will give you nice straight 6x1 boards all the way around the perimeter of it. And then I'm gonna reduce the backsawn boards to say 4-inch all the way around, and then we're gonna source flooring all the way down, all the way to the center. And every board that comes off this log is gonna be straight. I remember just turning up to the Australian shows, and we're converting these beautiful iron barks and stringy bark and all the above into crooked timber, So at the end of the day, you're left with, less than 30% recovery Also, the core is usually rotten, you know, and that just gets carved out and thrown away. But here you can leave enough material around it so you can actually capture that core and sell it as a product. So you're getting, you know, up to 70+% recovery through this process. So there you go. I'll come back to it a little later in the day after spending some time with the family, and then I'll saw this log up into straight timber. And you know, most logs in Australia are small these days, plantation timbers. For instance, there's some plantations in Tasmania. They're all about, you know, 350mm diameter, and they're kind of scratching their head what to do with it after the pulp companies were shut down. So we've got these huge plantations, and in this scenario you can produce true structural beams from them. You can produce true decking. You can provide all sorts of products off this Radial Master. So there you go.